So with number 20, we are finding the center and radius of the given circle. And we have the general form of the equation of a circle here in x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 10y minus 38 equals 0. So what we want to do is take this given general form and somehow manipulate it so that it is in center radius form so that we can quickly identify the center and the radius, which is what we're being asked. So just like we did with number 19, let's go ahead and group the x's together. Let's group the y's together. And we're going to go ahead then and move that constant from the left-hand side of the equal sign to the right-hand side. So when we group our x's together, we'll end up with x squared plus 2x. Then we're going to group our y's together, so y squared minus 10y. And then when we end up moving this constant from the left to the right, in order to do that, we'll have to add 38 to both sides, won't we? And so then we'll end up with equals positive 38. And now that we've grouped the x's together, we've grouped the y's together, let's go ahead and complete the square for the x's and complete the square for the y's, not forgetting that whatever we add to the left-hand side by completing the square for the x's and y's, we have to also add to the right-hand side. And so, just like before, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, to make sure I remember, I will do plus some number and then y squared minus 10y plus some number equals 38 plus some number plus some number, right? So we have this blank here corresponds to this blank, and this blank here corresponds to this blank. So whatever we add to the left, we have to remember to also add to the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and complete the square. So we know when completing the square, we have to take half the center term, half the middle term, or half this term in front of the x, the coefficient of your x term, and half of 2 is 1, and then whatever that value is, we then have to square. Well, 1 squared is just 1, isn't it? So we have to add 1 here, but because we added 1 here on the left, we have to add 1 on the right. Now we're going to do the same thing with our y's. What is half of the middle term here? Well, half of negative 5, half of negative 10 is negative 5, and then negative 5 squared is positive 25, so we have to add 25 to the left, add 25 to the right. And now that we've completed the square, we've created, here in the x's, a perfect square trinomial. Here with the y's, by completing the square, we've also created a perfect square trinomial, and we can rewrite these three terms, this perfect square trinomial, as a binomial that's being squared. And to do that, we'll take whatever variable we're working with. So in this case, we're using x's, so we'll use x. We take the middle sign here, in this case, a plus, and we're going to then take half of the middle term. What's half of 2? Well, 1. And then we're going to square that. We have plus, so plus, and then again, let's take these three terms, this perfect square trinomial, and write it as a binomial squared. Here now, notice we're using y's, so we'll use y. The middle sign here is a minus, so we'll say minus, and then half of 10 is 5, and squared equals 38 plus 1 is 39, 39 plus 25 is 64. And so now we have something that looks an awful lot like the center radius form, which is exactly what we want, because we want to quickly be able to identify the center and the radius, which is what we are being asked to do. And we know from earlier videos, if you watched them, that the shortcut method to identifying the center, if you have the center radius form, is to just take the opposite of the constant associated with the x. In this case, we're given a positive 1, so we're going to have negative 1. Here we have a negative 5 associated with the y, so we're going to take the opposite, or a positive 5. And so that's our center, negative 1 comma 5. And to find the radius, all we have to do is take the square root of the constant here on the right. Well, the square root of 64 is 8. And so there we have it. We've identified the center, -1, 5, and we've identified the radius as 8. All right, that was number 20. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 21. I'll see you there. This is Joe Brownlee with Palm Beach State College. Thanks for watching.